Hello there, I'm Big Alias, blah 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 blah. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, blah 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 blah. Universe means a lot to me, but it does. I love Star Wars. The universe is such a beautiful thing for me. I'm sorry, but the Star Wars universe is just so sacred to me. And I'm, I've said this before, but I'm the reason they make these shows, because personally speaking, I tap them on the shoulder and say, make this, $100 million production for me, please. But in actuality, I'm just the guy who's like, I want more corners of the universe because I love it so much. I enjoyed most of the the Star Wars TV shows, and I've made videos on here expressing how excited I was for the Acolyte, just Acolyte I think it's called. From the trailers, I thought it looked great, it looked really cool, and when I learned it had $180 million budget, I was very excited. I was very excited going into this, and no, the fact that the lead is the fact they even have to talk about this. The fact that the lead is a black female lead I have no issue with that. That's not a problem. I think that's pretty. It's a show about aliens. It's a show about all sorts of space aliens. There's a giant slug. I don't know why this would be an issue, and it certainly isn't an issue with me. And I do think that she gives a pretty good performance. But I'm just not feeling it yet. These first two episodes just haven't really grabbed me as much as I thought they would and hoped they would. And that's a real shame. In terms of the $180 million budget, that's the weirdest part to me. It's really perplexing. I'm assuming something went wrong in terms of production, because this does not feel like an expensive TV show in any way. I really don't know where the budget's gone. I think a lot of people get confused as to where budget is allocated and why something costs as much as it does in terms of production. But honestly, a lot of it just goes on wages. I think a lot of people think that if something costs several $100 million, that they're just buying the textures or buying the monsters, the CGI monsters. It's not that. You're paying for someone's time. So I assume that something in terms of the Acolyte went wrong on a managerial level or on a production level. Something must have, because it just does not feel overly premium, not yet at least. But I mean, the first two episodes are supposed to be there to grab you, and they just haven't yet. There's a lot of things that honestly I thought were done far better in shows like Kenobi, like effects wise and combat wise, and even like sets. I thought the sets were awesome in Kenobi. I don't think they're that great here, and Kenobi is considered a bad Star Wars TV show, but yeah, and I mean, there's overall the story too. It just didn't really. It's not grabbing me yet either. I will say, at the end of both of the episodes, they plant a little bit of intrigue. The first bit is a lot more exciting than the first episode's bit is more exciting than the second episode's bit. I'm trying not to spoil too much. And those do get me intrigued. They do plant little seeds here and there that really do make me want to watch on. I want to see what happens next. And I will watch the rest of this show purely to see what happens and who goes where and who does what, because it has planted a seed of interest in me to an extent. I will say the core narrative just doesn't matter to me right now in terms of the central narrative that's happening. I kind of don't care, and I think that's primarily because I don't really care too much about the characters. I think on a narrative level, this sort of performs a cardinal sin, which is it tries to make you care without putting the right amount of effort into making you care. Maybe not even just effort, but just the approach to making you care about the characters feels incorrect here, and ultimately a lot of big moments that would have been jaw-dropping if I cared happened, and I just don't care about any of these guys, and it doesn't feel this is going to sound a little bit subjective and a little bit weird, but the universe just feels off to me. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars universe to me. It feels like some sort of offshoot spin-off world that isn't actually Star Wars but kind of is adjacent to it, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's the soundtrack, the sets, the characters, the lack of characters from the original movies. Well, that being said, I can't think of any characters from the original movies in Andor, and I loved Andor to death, so I don't know. I really don't know why it's not grabbing me, but currently, after these two episodes, they're just not. I think the show's okay. I think some of the storytelling stuff they're going for is pretty good. I like a couple of the characters, but most of them I just don't really care about. And it's like it's an okay show. It just isn't grabbing me yet. I hope it does in the future, but so far those are my thoughts on the first and second episode. I think I enjoyed I don't even know, they're on about the same level actually. The opener to the first episode is probably the best bit, and after that it just becomes a bit uninteresting. I really hope things pick up, but yeah, those are my thoughts so far on the show, and I'll see everyone later.
The PlayStation's only $149, and you can also get leading titles.